We're good.
All right.
Awesome.
You want to go ahead and ask the first question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What are some of the values that you hold in the workplace?
When it comes to windfall, well, in general, be nice. I mean, basically, it's the same that you would want in your life. You know, you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So you be considerate of other people, and you listen. If you're in the staff side, listen to what people are saying. Sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do depending on what your position is, but you need to at least listen so that people feel heard. If you are in a position that you can actually do something, make changes, or decide not to make changes, then you need to reflect to the person that you're communicating with that you've heard them, and then, you know, explain why you need to do things one way or the other. And be open, you know, be open to ideas, and that's, I guess, basically it.
So would you say you've brought in, like, your out-of-work-life values into work and kind of align in that way?
I think you pretty much have to.
Yeah.
I mean, your underlying principles might be slightly different. Since we are a nonprofit, we have to make sure that we do things, that we use good business practices so that we can continue to serve the people that we serve, but we also don't need to be mean.
Yeah.
So we're not paying shareholders or anything like that. So you know, it's a little bit different focus.
Makes sense. Have you ever given up an opportunity because it didn't align with your values?
I would say that we have passed on some opportunities more because it was, yes, but a lot of it is mission driven. So if it doesn't align with our mission, even if it's a really good opportunity, it's probably not worth it to us for our resources, you know, human or money, to devote ourselves to something that is not in line with our mission.
What does, like, an example of that look at Windfall?
Well, since our mission is to ignite a passion for dance in the community through education or performance, we sometimes get asked to participate in something that, like a healthcare fair or something like that. And if we can, it's good because, you know, we're promoting an active lifestyle. But sometimes we're just already spread too thin. And so even though there is a connection, sometimes it's not enough of a connection. Sometimes we may get asked to perform someplace, and it doesn't really promote our organization other than simple branding.
Okay.
So I guess that would be another example. Another, when you were saying values, this is almost on more of a personal, but I also brought it to the board because I felt very strongly about it personally. We had an experience where we were needing to get some supplies, and there were multiple vendors that we could get some of these supplies from, and I'm trying not to name names, but one of the vendors had recently come out with some very public statements against certain groups of people, which just offended me personally, and I felt like was against what we stand for. I mean, it was against our anti-discrimination statement. And I just felt like I don't give that business my money. And I felt like as a leader of the organization that I couldn't spend the organization's money. But I brought it to the board and said, I know this is my personal feeling and I feel very strongly I will not go to that business if you guys feel like it doesn't matter and you feel like that we should, then someone else is going to have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the board actually agreed, and they said, if we have other vendors we can use, then we won't spend our money there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those situations.
Yeah.
All right, and then how do you align your personal values and those of the organization?
I think I just kind of did
Yeah,
that.
that is true.
I think you have to be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not sure if you're crossing a line, then you need to take it to your board.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to just present how you feel like it aligns or doesn't align with the organization. And again, it needs to go along with your mission statement and also your other statements of policy. So in that particular example, it was our anti-discrimination statement.
So would you say the Windfall's, nonprofit values align with your values as well?
Yeah, I would.
Is there ever a time that even though it would be a little bit against or uncomfortable with your own personal values, for like the whole of Windfall, you would take some action?
That I would do something for Windfall
that wasn't completely aligned with your values. Is there ever
maybe straight a little bit?
I can't think of an example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's over Windfall. Is there someone in your life, a friend or a mentor, that has influenced you and led you to be the leader you become?
There are probably a lot of people. I have been in leadership positions in other organizations, and so the leaders of those organizations helped establish a lot of the things that I consider skills.
Mm-hmm.
But they were less in the arts community and more in my professional community.
Are these like mentors or just role models you looked up to?
Define the difference for me.
Like someone who would like take you under their wing and like teach you things step by step, or someone you just like see from afar and like value and respect what they do and how they do it?
Some of both.
Okay.
The other organization primarily was Indiana Speech Language Hearing Association, and the way that played out was there were a lot of team leadership roles, so program team where you develop the program for the state convention and things like that. Local arrangements, exhibits, and all of those. There were school committees and things like that. So there were a lot of different teams, but then I was also president of the organization for 2 years. And the way that played out, you were president-elect for 2 years. So during that time, you were being mentored by the current president, and then you were president for 2 years, and you were mentoring the next person. And then there was 1 year when you were past president, and you kind of rested on your laurels and just got to hang out with people. So, I learned a lot about nonprofit organizations and strategic planning and budgeting and working with larger groups of people, especially through that organization.
Was there ever a time that you made a little slip in your values, and what was the result of that?
A little slip of my
Or
values.
strayed away a little bit from what you truly believe in?
No, I can't really think of any.
Wow.
No, I mean, you just, like I said, you just, be nice to people.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to feel your passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
and you treat people like people. You know, you don't treat them like dollar signs. You don't treat them like, you know, anything else.
Yeah.
So just be nice.
Sure. What's your work-life balance like, and how do you make?
Oh, it's
that?
terrible.
Really?
It's very easy for me to get sucked into here. You know, this is everything I do for Windfall is volunteer. And it's not unusual for me to be doing Windfall stuff for, you know, 20 to 48 hours a week. And that's aside from, you know, my paying job.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's a lot.
it's hard to, when you're really passionate, it just becomes part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the best I can say for that.
Definitely.
I mean, it doesn't feel, every now and then it does feel a little out of control when you've been here, you know, by yourself for 6 to 8 hours working on something, and you kind of go, wait a minute, why am I doing all of this? But then it also helps you feel settled. So, and that helps me.
How did you find that balance? Like, did you end up first?
I apparently did it very badly. You just have to, you have to think it through, and you have to set boundaries. You know, you have to say, however that works for you. So it might be, you say, okay, on this day, I'm not doing any Windfall stuff, or whatever your business or organization is. Mm-hmm. Or you say, between these hours, you know, this is my family time, this is my personal time, and you figure out how you can do it so that it's going to work. So, you know, in your world, you may say, because for so little of your life is your own while you're in school, but what you may do is you may say, okay, Friday evening's mine. I'm not doing any homework. I'm not meeting with any groups. You know, that's my time. Or, you know, Saturday morning, or however you do it.
Sometimes I find it the opposite, actually. It would be like, this hour I have to work. These 2 hours I have to work, because sometimes you can get sidetracked, I think, in college.
Same thing. And that's kind of why I came in. Like, I've started coming in on Fridays because we don't have anything. And I can distract myself quite easily.
Yeah.
If I'm working on a grant, I am much better to go, these are my favorite grant writing places, Panera, Bob Evans.
Really?
I'm sure you've never done that. Consider that. Bob Evans, certain places have outlets. You know, I just tend to, you know, tip better. I call it table rental.
Yeah.
And I don't do it during, you know, like peak times for them, but I still offer, you know, table rental for the whoever section I'm in. Okay. Panera, Starbucks, but sometimes it's hard to get comfortable. It depends on where you get there. Yeah, so coffee shops. But Bob Evans is a good one because, you know, there aren't crowds of people.
That's true. I used to work at Denny's all the time because they have outlets there too.
Yeah. And the reason those are good places for me, if I'm at home, I get a lot of cleaning done when I'm working on
Yeah, find a lot of things to get
it's like, oh, I need to put this load of laundry. Oh, I better run. Oh, you know, I really need to mop that floor, you know. So, but if I go to an external place, then I can't distract myself quite as much.
That makes sense.
We'll see how much I'm going to get done here today. Today is my Windfall day. Tomorrow is my do stuff at home day. So.
Yep, that's all the questions we have for you today.
Those are my pearls of wisdom for you. Be nice and treat people like you want to be treated. And listen, that's kind of that part. And carve out time either for work or for personal, and get away from your distractions. Library used to be good.
Still is, I would say.
Yeah.
I used to go there. When I was in school, that's where I would go. But it was a different animal than what you guys have now. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Did I cover what you needed?
Oh, definitely.